was no stopping the OJ's hit, Love Train, which raced to the top of the charts way back in 1973. For the record, all these years later, the OJ's are still doing what they love and talking about it with our Jim Axelrod.
Nothing says old school like the OJ's. With hit after hit, they practically ruled R&B radio in the 1970s.
Ask me how I know.
And while some of their outfits may have fallen out of fashion, their songs stand the test of time.
She used to be my girl. Oh no, she used to be my girl. I love music.
Still performing after more than half a century together, their vintage days may be behind them.
I love you.
But listen to the OJ's sing.
My darling, darling baby.
And watch the OJ's work. This is no nostalgia act.
We've all seen the groups that are the name only.
Yes.
And they're not creating
Yes.
new, fresh moments.
We're still having moments. Those hallelujah moments.
Talk with me. You better come.
At 75 and 74 years old, Eddie Levert and Walter Williams, together with the new kid, Nolan Grant, are still creating plenty of hallelujah moments. Perfectly fitting, since Walter and Eddie started singing together in a Canton, Ohio church choir more than 60 years ago.
Don't leave me no more.
They formed a group and had some local success. But Canton didn't change their lives. Philadelphia did. Where, in the early 1970s, a post-Motown R&B sound was evolving at a studio run by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff.
I have seen them take a song totally apart with just bass, piano, and drums.
Yeah.
And then they add all of the sweetness to it with the other instruments and horns and strings. And it's unbelievable.
Gamble and Huff's Philly sound polished the OJ's mix of sweet soul grooves
The backstabbers. Backstabber. Let me
and romantic ballads
love you, baby.
into 11 gold and 4 platinum records. 24 top 10 R&B singles. And their signature hit, Love Train, which went to #1 on the pop charts in 1973. Not bad for improvising.
Is it true you didn't step into the recording session with the lyrics fully written?
Absolutely. Gamble sat at the console. He didn't have a second verse. And he wrote it right there in the studio.
Yeah.
And here you are, 45 years later, still singing it.
Biggest song we got.
But it hasn't all been bright lights and hit records. It never is. There's been plenty of painful personal challenges. Since 1983, Walter Williams has battled multiple sclerosis.
If I had gone home, probably never would come out again to work. So I wanted to work through it.
Work through MS.
Yeah. I didn't have a choice.
In 2006, Eddie's son Gerald, a hit singer himself, died from a prescription drug overdose. 2 years later, his son Sean, who'd suffered from heart and lung problems, died as well.
How'd you keep it going through that kind of tragedy, both the boys?
There's a lot of people that depend on me, man. I have to stay focused. I'm no good if I fall apart.
Watching all this was Nolan Grant, who's been with Walter and Eddie 22 years now.
When I got in the group, I thought I was a man, and they couldn't tell me nothing different. I learned how to be a man.
When they're done?
Done. If I don't have Eddie and Walt, you know, the book ends, it's a wrap.
Members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 2005, the OJs know this won't go on forever. However fine their form, it's time that always gets to close the show. The OJs say they've got 2 years left.
So let's just say it's 2020, and you're done. What do you want the legacy to be when people think about the OJs?
When they're on their way home, they should be talking about you.
Yeah.
So, on my way out, I
should be
want them to be
talking
talking about me.
And they still are, all these years later, drawn to the OJs by their music and their message.
At the end of the day, what were we trying to convey? Love is the only thing that matters, man.